Hello and welcome to a very quick tutorial on how to embed a Twitter hashtag onto a new Google site, which doesn't allow for Twitter widgets to happen, doesn't really allow much embedding of really any kind other than just sort of the Google Docs, Google Drive stuff that already comes with that embed. So that's the one thing that that you can embed right now, but figured out a way of sort of shoehorning in a Twitter hashtag into the new Google Sites and wanted to take a look at that. So I'm going to share my screen and then we'll kind of talk about what I'm doing. So I'm going to share, let's see here, this one. Ooh, we're getting the infinity effect. So what we are going to be using sort of throughout is a couple of different things. And I'm just going to move this over here so I can see it on my other screen and what we're broadcasting here. But essentially what I'm going to be doing is taking you through how to use awesome tables, tags, and Google Sites to sort of mash it all together. What I've got over here on the right is a brand new Google site, and we are going to, just for fun's sake, we are going to do, let's go with a BFC 530 hashtag for this particular hashtag that we are going to track. And so I'll just move that over so it's not so so apparent. And so we are literally just going to do this together. So BFC 530, which is the Breakfast Club 530, a daily and weekly and all of those wonderful things, Spark chat that happens at 5:30 in 4 different time zones. So lots of fun happening there. I'm just going to do a quick publish so that we can start to see what this looks like. But this is using the new Google Sites. And so this is within my Google Apps for Education domain. And so I am going to go ahead and publish this. And actually I need to change the publish settings so that anyone on the web could see this if we wanted to have folks actually take a look at it. So now that we've got our Google site, we want to actually embed the Twitter stream. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to grab a new copy of tags, which is the way in which you can support folks in, or the way in which you can create a Twitter archive. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do tags.hoxie.info. And this was created by an educator who really wanted to create Twitter archives. And it was created, I believe, by Martin Hoxie. So really great resource to create Twitter archives into Google Sheets. So let's get started. So I'm going to get the tags 6.1, which is the latest version of the Twitter archive, the Twitter archiving tool. And so it's going to ask me, do I want to make a copy? And I absolutely do want to make a copy. And it's going to actually, go into my Google account. It'll make a copy of tag 6.1, which has all of these lovely things that it can do. But essentially all that we need it to do is to archive our tweets in order to be able to embed them into the Google site. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the term BFC 530 in order to do my search on Twitter. So BFC 530. And almost none of this actually matters. The only one thing that you might want to check out is the follower count filter. So if you're getting a lot of spam and things like that inside of your hashtag that you're following, you may want to to up this to like 10, because a lot of those spam accounts don't actually have any followers yet. You can up it to whatever you want to, but it's not going to pull in anything. It's not going to pull in anything that doesn't have, more than that follower count. And so now what we get to do is go up to our lovely tags menu up at the top here and set up our Twitter access. And you're essentially just approving, yes, I do want to allow Google to be able to access that. And because I've already run through the setup, it's going to say your peer that you're already connected to Twitter. Do you want to run the setup again? Nope, I don't. You may have to do that, but it's just walking through the steps and saying, yes, connected to Twitter. Not super difficult in any way. And so lots of fun there. I'm just going to check to see if the chat has anything, which it does not, and we can just keep on going. So what we want to do is, now that we've connected it to Twitter, we can actually run it. And we're running the script. It's going to go out to Twitter. It's going to find everything that is from within the last 7 days. And it allows you to grab all of the tweets. You see it's taking a little bit of time, but now that it's sort of got all of its processing power, everything that it's doing, it's actually pulling them all into this archive sheet. And it's really allowing you to see all of the tweets that have happened as they have happened. You see this big, long set of tweets. Lots of fun that you can do with tags. I really like this as an ongoing tool, which it sort of is a great way. And I set up a separate spreadsheet for each one of the hashtags that I like to follow. But you see over the last 7 days, really great set of tweets that we can actually then embed. Okay, the things that I'm going to do in this spreadsheet, okay, are just 2 more. One is I really like to see the summary sheet and the dashboard for tags, because then I can kind of analyze it a little bit and I can actually embed those graphs that it creates inside of my Google site as well. So I'm going to add the summary sheet, and it'll actually just create a new sheet down at the bottom that gives me a summary of who's tweeting the most and those kinds of things within this given hashtag BFC530. And so it created this lovely summary sheet, which says in the last 7 days, these are the folks that have tweeted the most using that hashtag. So Mr. Fieldmanches, that's probably not how he or she pronounces that, but 173 different tweets that have been sent out. And actually, one of the coolest things is you can see how many people are actually responding to one another, right? Like if you see the @ symbol. So we added the summary sheet, and then we can also add the dashboard sheet, which lets me have a little bit more understanding of sort of the visual aspect of all of the tweets coming in. So now this is the dashboard. And in here, we get to have all of these different, really great graphs, like when are the peak times, who are the folks who are tweeting the most, when is it happening? And so it looks like, clearly, right there is when, that Spark chat is happening, and when, sort of which of those individual time zones it's actually tweeting the most. And then the last thing that we do in the spreadsheet is we add the ability to update archive every hour, which means that it'll keep on pulling new tweets into the spreadsheet every single hour. I'm just going to change this to be the BFC 530 archive. And so now I have this spreadsheet. I'm the only one who has access to it, though. Whoops. who's trying to share their screen with me. I'm just going to turn off Air Server so we don't have that happen anymore. And so this is the basis for what we can do inside of Awesome Tables and then in Google Sites. And so we've got the archive working. Now we need to add a couple of things to the archive to make the Awesome Table work. So what I've done is I've created a spreadsheet that allows the Awesome Table to work very well. If you go to bit.ly/awesome tables tags, then you're going to be able to see that. And I'm just going to blow it up a little bit so you can actually see the link a little bit better. So bit.ly/awesome tables tags. And so I've got a little bit of the instructions, grab the latest version of tags to make your Twitter hashtag. And then what we're going to do is we're going to copy these two sheets over to the spreadsheet that we just did. So I'm going to copy archive 2, copy it over to my BFC 530 archive. So bada boom. So it says success. All right. And then I'm going to copy template over. I'm going to copy to BFC 530. Lovely thing. And now if we look back at our BFC 530, we now have these two brand new sheets, which I'll just change back to their regular names. So template and archive 2. Okay. And then the last step, which was identified here on how to use the spreadsheet, is we need to change the sheet reference, to the actual sheet that this is in. So if you go into the archive 2 sheet and you change the ID to the one that's actually right up here. So I'm going to copy that. Bada boom, bada bing. And so what it'll do is once it actually, you give it access, then all you have to do is wait for it to actually populate from the archive sheet. And it'll give you a whole second archive, but it will give, it will actually allow you to use the Awesome Table, which is what we're going to set up next. So now we've got our archive all set up. We actually don't need to touch this ever again if we don't want to. We're just setting it up in the background. Now we're going to go to awesometable.com and make a brand new Awesome Table. Okay. So when you have logged into awesome-table.com, click on the plus button. And what you get to do then is create a brand new Awesome Table using the spreadsheet that we already have. So what we're going to do is make sure that we've got our spreadsheet copied. Put in the spreadsheet URL. Okay. The sheet name that we want it to be pulling from is, remember, archive 2. This is the one that we want. And let's see which columns we actually want it to be. We want it to be columns columns A through T, because that's the end of that particular sheet. All right. So we need A3 through T. All right. So now we want it to be actually cards that it shows up, and we get to sort of say what those cards actually are doing. And I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger because I know my screen is a little small there. So we want the cards, the card layout for our hashtag to show up. 4 columns doesn't really matter, but you can leave all of those settings just fine. The one thing that I tend to like to do is, rather than have it be day, day, month, month, in the date format, I like month, month, day, day, because I'm Moroccan, I guess. And so, you know, like really it would make a lot more sense for most folks who are seeing this from the United States. And so that's what we want to do. And then in the advanced parameters, all you got to do is put in where the templates are coming from. And so remember, we set up this lovely little template sheet by copying it over from what I had already. And so as long as I do template, exclamation point, and then I do A1 through C2, A1 through C2. So that's everything that we need to do. We just need to name it so that we can actually see what it looks like. So this is going to be the BFC 530 Twitter hashtag. Oops. Archive. Save that bad boy, and we'll see what she looks like. And so what it's going to do is it's going to pull in all of the tweets. Oh, and it looks like we've got a couple of errors that we might need to figure out. Because right now what it's doing is it's pulling in the very first field, and it's not pulling in the other items. So what we want to do is make sure that we've got all of these settings figured out. And so I'm going to go over to my archive 2 and make sure, yep, it's pulling in this column A. But what I want to make sure is that this is hidden from view. So boop-a-doop-a-doo. We have A3, right? A3 through T. We want it to go all the way across. A boop-a-boop-a-boo. And I'm going to change this to no filter hidden. And save that and see if we get a better result. Nope, it didn't like me. And so what I need to do is see if I have my parameters okay over here. It is template. Oh, you know what? Hang on. Yeah, archive 2, A3 through T, template A through C2. Does it like me better if I do that? No. Oh, it likes me better. So let's see what it's doing. So it's putting in the information correctly. Let's see. Well, I've got one that's already working, so let's go off of that one and see what we can find. Let's look at the one that I already set up for the APS 2020 archive and see what my settings are and if they're any different. So this is how it's supposed to look. These are all of the boxes, the cards that are pulling in every hour for that hashtag. I just want to make sure. Oh, interesting. So I have it as A1 through T. Oh, it's because it's not going to see those things if I don't pull in the right columns. Silly Ben. All right, so I'm going to go back to the one that we were working on, BFC 530. Wouldn't it be nice if I did it right the first time and it looks like magic? No, I think it's good to sort of see what it looks like when I can't, or I didn't get it right the first time. So now I'm gonna cross my fingers And yay! We get to see all of these tweets right here. And now we can do the fun part, which is embed it in a Google site. So I'm just going to copy this link over to my Google site, paste in the URL, and guess what? I can make it as big as I want to. Oops. And so what I get to see is if I view it and we log in, whoops. I think I just need to make it public. That's what I got to do. So make it public, and then let's see. Do we have a winner? I think it's loading because it's such a long archive. It's having to process all of those different elements. And so what we get is, there we go. So this is all of the tweets directly embedded. And the way it works is each one of these cards you can click on and it'll open up that particular tweet, which is great. You can actually see each individual tweet. You can also do a text search. So I want to search for everything that has learning in it. Apparently there is nothing. How about school? Does it like school? Oh, I think we're going overboard here. Trying to process too fast. And so you should be able to do, here, let's do it by user and see what we got. There you go. So it pulls in just from that user. If we go back to the big one, then you can actually see everybody. If you just look by location, you can actually see where people are tweeting from, and you'll see, look, some different things that have snuck through. But let's look at who is tweeting from Cleveland, my hometown. So Mark Barnes. So that was where those locations were from, and you can actually do that. Let me see if I can get the text search to work, because it looked like it was trying to process, but it's trying to process through 2,687 different tweets. So let's take a look at tech and see if it pulls in, because that's interesting that it's not pulling that in. So I'm gonna have to see why it's not pulling in the actual text of the text search. But yeah, that's the way in which you can embed. And once again, because we did the, because we actually went ahead and added those dashboards from the Google Sheet, I can actually add those charts directly to my Google, my new Google site. And so the charts, you can add from any of the spreadsheets that are already created on your account. And it would allow for you to, so if I search for my BFC 530 archive, come in. There we are. BFC 530. So, oh, it didn't like me. Oh, it's because I need to share this with my other account, because I am in 2 different accounts. So let's do this. bhwolkoff@aurora.org. Now let's see. Oops, BFC 530. Again. I want to add one of the charts to see what it looks like. Boo, boo, boo. And so what we got when I am inserting a chart down here, And this, to me is not simple, but it does allow for you to do something that you couldn't previously do. It's something that we weren't able to really try and tackle. And so I want the charts inside of the, oh, there we go. So if I look, come in. Nope. There we go. So let's look at the tweet volume over time chart. And we can add that one. Aw, snap. Let's see if it added it. Yep, right there. And so now we can have a chart as well. Publish that. And if I refresh this page, then what we get is this lovely live chart over time where you can see all of the different elements there, or when folks are tweeting more, tweeting less, things like that. So I'm going to stop the screen share because that's everything that we needed to talk about. And if you watched this all the way through, you are super dedicated because this was a little bit, I would say, more complex than probably most of the tutorials that you watch. But I wanted to get this documented so that you could actually see it. I'll be writing up the process more formally and maybe doing a polished version of this where I chop up and get rid of all of the smaller bits so that you can sort of see how this works in a cleaner fashion. But thanks so much for watching, and I really enjoyed having a conversation.